This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No. Nope.
Y'all, just
It's
stop.
finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Al, and Tori. Today, we're looking back at some of our favorite celebrity interviews, like our hilarious conversation with comedian Joy Coy. Did I say that right?
Joe Coy. It said Joy in the.
It says Joy in the
Joy sounds like his mom.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. And sometimes I just like read it verbatim. I don't self-edit, but I should have. Joe, we all love Joe. He's been on the show a couple of times. And he revealed his hack for making perfect rice and why Chelsea Handler poured vodka in his ear. Take a look.
I'm gonna shoot this out of a cannon for you. Why did Chelsea Handler pour vodka in your ear? I just gotta know.
She's okay. So I went with my family on a vacation. Oh my God, she did this. She's something, man. So I had water in my ear and I couldn't get it out. She goes, just put alcohol in it. And I said I didn't have alcohol, and she goes, I got some Belvedere. Let's use it. And she poured it in my ear. It worked.
No way.
Whoa. Well, let's just warn our viewers. Hey, viewers, just talk to your doctor first. Don't listen to Joe Coy. Talk to your doctor.
Yeah, our DBL lawyers just had a heart attack.
I'm like, no offense.
Hilarious.
No offense, but we're going to need a medical opinion.
You guys said that. Let's go to a doctor for that one.
Tell her that we said it with love, okay? So you recently returned to stand-up. And one of my favorite stories you tell is about you learning how to make rice from your mom. We do have a clip, so let's take a look.
I remember that day. I'm going to teach you how to make rice, and this is the only time I'm going to teach you. Okay? How do I do it? You take a couple scoops of rice, Joseph, put it in the pot. Put water in the pot, squish it around. Clean the rice like that. If the water's cloudy, the rice is dirty, pour that water out. Put more water in there, squish it around. This is how you cook perfect rice. I want the world to know that right now.
So have you taught your son how to make perfect rice?
I'm teaching the world. You know what's funny is that's another one that Chelsea and I did. Chelsea made me go to her house and teach her how to make the rice. And of course, it came out wrong. I don't get it, man.
I like that. I don't know why. I always like when someone goes there with like an intention and then it
fails.
I was broke in college, and I was like, I'll just buy a bunch of rice to like stretch my meals. And as a black dude, I'd never made rice. I'm like, add water and boil it, and it was just like a snowball.
You're not washing rice.
I did not know what I was doing. So everybody does. You're doing the Lord's work. Teach everybody how to make good rice.
Al, when you make rice, people are like, is this mashed potatoes?
Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, it's just a different take on mashed potatoes, all right? Just eat it. All right, now let's talk about the important stuff. Metal shop masters, because I'm dying to know, like when you're on a set like this, do you pick up any metal working skills?
Ooh.
And well,
Absolutely not. Not one. He's good. Incredible. I'm telling you, I've never met these are the most amazing artists on earth. I swear. They took garbage cans, scrap metal, old cars, old car tires, and then they would just make these big, beautiful sculptures. I mean, these artists are not recognized, and I can't wait for this show to come out because they need their light. They need to shine because what they do is incredible. Incredible.
I love that. In fact, you have like a really cool metal sculpture behind you. Was that from one of the artists in the show?
That's so funny. I thought you were talking about the Christmas lights because I'm lazy to take them out of my house.
Not the Christmas lights. A little early there, buddy.
How cool is that chandelier?
Yes.
I was going to mention that when we first started the show, but I was like, is that unprofessional? But I was like, I love that.
Is that from them? Go ahead.
When do you put up your Christmas lights? Do you put them up after Halloween, or do you wait till December?
After Thanksgiving.
Oh, I put these up 4 years ago.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
They are not coming down ever.
There you go. So before.
The better question is, when do you plug them in? After Thanksgiving.
That's a good point.
You don't take them down, you just plug them in.
Do you plug them in all year round?
Oh, right when Christmas starts, I don't stop. I never take them out. It's like, how can you not love Christmas lights? I let them go until about March.
Yeah.
And then the neighbors are like, take them down, Joe. Take them down.
And coming up on DBL, we get Chelsea Handler's take on why she poured vodka in Joe's ear, and the story of a woman who was accused of a crime she didn't commit. But get this, the crime never even happened.
There's going to be a lot of internet chatter. That's where the red flag goes up.
We are never going to agree on this. It's ignorant, and for me, it was just like a damn shame.
Tell me I need to do something, I'm going to do the exact opposite.
You know why I don't call in sick? Camera hog.
Hi, DBL Nation. It's Kelly here with the DBL Digital team. I'm here with Bobby Bennett. He's one of our new employees, but I'm sure you noticed the show's a little different today. We're having some technical issues, so we're running a best of episode.
What did you do to get technical difficulties?
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, guys. It wasn't me. But we did want to let you know there will be no word of the day today. I know a lot of you guys are excited about winning that vacation. Unfortunately, we can't enter. We would love a vacation too, but we did give the talent a vacation today. We sent them home. That's why we're here with you guys.
And with coffee.
I know.
Wait,
Today,
what is today?
This is a good day. A little bad day at DBL. We're making it work here, but it's a great day because it's Starbucks Holiday Cup Day. This is one of the newest holiday cups. You can see it's got a little Christmas tree, but Bobby, I've got a question.
Yes.
Why are there no blue holiday cups for Hanukkah?
Well, we can create one.
We could.
We'll just do a whole thing and just like have a star and then us on it like this.
I mean, I think it's really cute that they do the holiday cups every year, but I think it's a little, am I being too woke?
No. Well,
Am I? DBL Nation, is Kelly being too woke
Kelly
today?
that is the new thing.
Let
Kelly
me know.
being too woke.
And I have to tell you one thing, DBL Nation. Bobby Bennett was on American Idol. So if you're bored today after you watch our show, do a little Google and type in Bobby Bennett. Bobby, tell us a little bit about your time on American
Long
Idol.
ago, far away, I was 19. It was 2006. I was on the highest rated season, really.
That's when I was watching.
Really, really? For real?
Oh, yeah.
Top 24, St. Copacabana. I was about 150 pounds heavier. Had a mustache that looked like a Ron Jeremy, I think, is what they used to call it. You saw it.
I did. I did see it, but we need
swell.
sing a quick little line so DBL Nation can hear how beautiful your voice is.
So
hey, you wanted to be on the break, Bobby? This is
Kelly's
what you get.
the best. Oh, see, look at, I even gave you a little something.
Oh, we did.
We'll see you tomorrow for a real show.
Yes, so we've got a big day tomorrow. We've got our pro aging episode coming up. We've got a lot of experts that are on the show, so please type in your questions. Send us any questions you have. Lots of experts coming.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. I'm aging myself. I just turned 35.
We don't need it. It's fine.
Yes, we do. We all need a little touch up here and there, and we'll show you the healthy way to do it.
Nice
so
meeting
stay
you all.
tuned for tomorrow. Again, no word of the day today. Bye.
But, you know.
Welcome back to DBL. Earlier, we aired our interview with Joe Coy, where he revealed Chelsea Handler's hack for getting water out of his ear. Now, here's our chat with Chelsea, who also talked about that very hack. Take a look.
Good morning, boys and girls. How are you?
That's appropriate. We've been acting
we've
like
been
children all day. We are doing well. It's so good to have you on here. Chelsea, we talk a lot about mental health here on this show and how laughter definitely can be the best medicine. Since you're big on therapy, myself as well, how has it helped you make people laugh?
Well, it's made me calm down, which was the biggest problem, because I just found people so incredibly annoying. Even when I was on stage and I was the one holding the microphone, I somehow still found people annoying. So I had to really go in there and just say, listen, I have no patience, and yeah, everyone annoys me. I need to like break this down. So it kind of, you know, once you get a little gift, I call it the gift of self-awareness, right? Wow. You're paying somebody to tell you what's wrong with you. And I think that's the greatest transaction it's the best investment I ever made. So it just kind of calmed me down and made me realize, you know, to stop thinking of everything from my own perspective and kind of take in what other people are experiencing that are unlike me. And then that makes you a kind of more patient person. So I needed a professional doctor to explain all of that to me.
Shout out to therapy. Now, your new comedy tour, and I appreciate you naming this so I can say this on TV, is called Vaccinated and Horny.
Yes.
Now, did you have to say it like that?
You got to put a little stank on it. All right, baby.
Wait. He and I practiced this all morning. He said it perfectly.
Called me 4 o'clock in the morning. Get up. Now, I have to know, based on the title, what is the funniest thing about people having sex during the pandemic?
Well, my funniest experience about that during the pandemic was having my own COVID tests at my house, because at a certain point, after like 2 months, I realized, well, wait a second, this could go on for years, and I would like to make sure that I am keeping myself active, you know? So I got my own COVID, they were called Q Health COVID tests. I had them in my house, so I would invite potential suitors to my backyard, where I would give them promptly, as soon as they arrived, a nasal swab, and then I would put it in the cartridge in my kitchen, come back outside and interview them for the next 30 minutes. And if they said anything that was annoying, like, I don't think masks work, or I saw a pinky ring, for instance, then I would come out and say, I just got your test results, you're positive, you're gonna need to leave.
Your pinky ring positive. Yeah. That's hilarious. All right, let's get dirty.
Pinky rings, yeah, that's a deal breaker. It's like seeing a studded belt. You know, you're in and then you're out. You're like, oh no
more. Let's get dirty. Earwax dirty. I have small tubes, and I want to talk about this ear thing that's going on with you.
Sounds like a euphemism.
It kind of is, but she knows what I'm talking about. Yes, we recently had fellow comedian Joe Coy on our show. He shared a surprising hack of yours, which I've been loving. You pour vodka in people's ear to clear out trapped ocean water. Now, we warned our viewers not to try it, but we got to know, how did you discover this hack? I use hydrogen peroxide and some hope.
Hope?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope. Oh, yeah. Hope is always good. Hydrogen peroxide will work. Isopropyl will work. You know, any of those things. I just love Belvedere, so I just figure, you know, if I could pour that in somebody's ear, why not? That's my vodka of choice. But it does work. It does. I mean, I'll say it. I'll absolve you guys from any guilt. I'm not a medical practitioner or a doctor, but I like to think that I am. So I try all of my little things on my friends. But someone taught me that on a boat once, because I couldn't, you know, when you're dumping around trying to get the water out of your ear and look like a giant idiot, somebody was like, you know, you could just pour alcohol in it, and then you feel the sizzle, and it just evaporates, and you're like, oh, it's almost kind of addictive. I'm like, I want to get some more water in my ear.
Chelsea, you're not a doctor, but you do give good advice on your podcast. What's the best advice that you ever gave someone?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is good.
One guy, Shane, called in, and he had been smoking too much cannabis, and he said he wasn't getting stoned anymore. And I said, well, let's do a 30-day break. I'll do it with you in solidarity. Let's clear your head out. You shouldn't be smoking that much cannabis anyway. If you can't get stoned, what's the point? And we did a 30-day break. And when he called back, he said in that time, he gained so much clarity that he came out to his family as trans. Wow. And he had been hiding that for years. And he had gotten a different job. Like, just taking that 30-day break for him was life-changing. And, you know, that's when I would realize, I'm like, okay, I need to take this more seriously, because people are taking me seriously, you know? I mean, the people who are calling, obviously not the whole world, thank God, but the people that are calling, you know, I want to have an impact that's positive, that feels like you've got, you know, your big sister in your corner.
You only heard our conversation. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Probably the cutest couple ever, Joe Coy and Chelsea Handler. Sorry, Karen.
No, but can I be honest? She recently came out as together with Joe Coy, and she said this: women, I always thought I'd never find someone and I have to create myself into what a man wants, but I found the one. Don't change yourself. You can find him.
And even if they don't last, right? If it's not forever, like right now, they seem like they're having a really good time. Just a lot of PDA.
Lots. I love it.
And sometimes that's it. Sometimes every relationship isn't supposed to be to the end of time. Sometimes you just have a good 2-year run. That's okay too.
Putting a number on them?
Yeah, you know, summer, long weekend, whatever.
We'll be right back.
In some ways, churches have one of the best deals on federal taxes. They neither have to pay them nor file annual paperwork. But a tweet with 10,000 likes claims they can lose their tax-exempt status by backing a political candidate. So let's verify. Can the IRS revoke the tax-exempt status of churches that endorse candidates? Our sources are the IRS, the Johnson Amendment of 1954, Clergy Financial Resources, the United Church of Christ, the California Catholic Conference, and Grace Communion International. In 1954, Congress passed the Johnson Amendment, which prohibits churches, charities, and most other tax-exempt organizations from endorsing candidates. If they do, then they risk losing their tax-exempt status. The IRS says Generally, these organizations can't show preference for a candidate, but a leader can, if it's clear they're speaking as an individual. This means they can't use official titles or church resources like the pulpit, newsletter, or website to make their endorsement. Our sources note politicians can speak to congregants, but all candidates must be given the same opportunity. So, yes, the IRS can revoke the tax-exempt status of churches that endorse candidates, although it's a lengthy process, and the only time the IRS successfully revoked a church's tax-exempt status was in 1992, when branch ministries sponsored newspaper ads urging Christians not to vote for Bill Clinton. The United Church of Christ and the IRS note under the rules, churches are allowed to take positions on public policy issues such as abortion or immigration without endorsing specific candidates. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. Imagine being imprisoned for more than a decade for a horrific crime that never occurred. It happened to a group of women dubbed the San Antonio Four. Earlier, we spoke with one of them. Here is another look at her story in today's Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted.
Sometimes the weight of a secret can be crushing, and 18-year-old Ana Vasquez is holding her secret close.
I have always been a lesbian. At the age of like 7 or 8, I was interested in girls. Was I out? No, I wasn't.
The only people who know are her closest friends, Liz, Christy, and Cassandra.
They were also kind of dealing with the same thing. Dealing with the same issues in their own lives.
In July of 1994, the women hang out with Liz while she watches her 7-year-old and 9-year-old nieces. But Ana notices a dark cloud over the little girl's father.
He wanted to be in a relationship with Liz. When he found out that Elizabeth was a lesbian, he just didn't like it.
Less than a year later, the 4 women are indicted after the young girls say they were molested by the group during their summer stay. The girls' Aunt Liz is dubbed the ringleader. She is convicted and sentenced to 37.5 years in prison. Exactly 1 year later, Ana and the remaining 2 women stand trial together. Liz's nieces take the stand in both trials.
My emotions to hearing what the little girls were saying was very heartbreaking, in disbelief, shock. It's really hard to hear that you are doing these horrific things to innocent children.
As a final blow, the prosecution puts a doctor on the stand.
The thing that hurt us was the pediatrician and what she testified to as being signs of sexual trauma.
All 3 women are found guilty of aggravated sexual assault of a child and indecency with a child. They are sentenced to 15 years in prison. Ana quickly learns that her sexual assault conviction puts her in harm's way, so she lies.
For a very long time, I always said that I was in prison for aggravated assault. You know, like I can look like a badass, right?
Then in 2006, a professor who is studying female sex offenders reaches out.
He did his own research on us, on the case, and reached out to an organization that focused on child sexual abuse and the LGBTQ community.
While the Dallas Integrity Unit reinvestigates the case, the youngest victim recants her testimony. Then the pediatrician comes forward.
She said, "This is not true, and had I known the science back then, I would have never testified to it. And I'll never testify to that science now."
In 2016, the San Antonio Four are exonerated.
And the feeling was just, in a sense, it was like, you see, I told you so.
All 4 women are declared innocent.
Anna, thank you so much for joining us here in DBL. Your story is really important.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So looking back on your case, and I know a lot of it must upset you, but is there one specific moment or person that upsets you the most?
There is a pediatrician that was the quote unquote expert witness in this case that, kind of identified us as satanic worshipers at the time. Being so young that I wasn't really familiar of my surroundings in what people were thinking at that particular time.
I'm sorry. I'm shaking my head. I can't believe that Satan was introduced at her trial, and you have to give me a second because I've read this and it's still shocking to me. What was more shocking is after prison, you were able to meet with one of the girls that testified against you. What did you learn about her story in that meeting?
To be honest with you, it was everything that I thought could have happened. This was being told to her to say these horrible things about me. And it was just confirmed during that meeting. She was so brave to be able to come out to tell the truth. Unfortunately, going against her family and being kicked out of what she ever knew, but she was so strong, and I completely commend her for that.
In the early 90s, unfortunately, there were a lot of stereotypes about the LGBTQ community. How did those stereotypes impact your case specifically? And do you believe that your case would have had a different outcome if it happened today in 2021?
That's a very good question. Do I think that it might have been a different time today? Maybe it wouldn't have gone as far as it did. But unfortunately, because I'm dealing with the Innocence Project of Texas as their outreach and education, I still continue to see these flaws in our system. Do I think that it played a part, being a part of the LGBTQ community back then? Absolutely. The stereotype was horrific. There was no public display of affection out there like it is today. It's so much more accepting. But back then, when I was accused of this, it was not accepted at all. It was almost like I was in hiding for so long.
After your exoneration, you said that you felt lost, but you were able to find your purpose again. How did you do that?
I'm one of the fortunate ones, and I thank God every day for that. Because there are so many people that don't find themselves again. They cannot get over the fact that this happened to them, and they've lost so many years of their life. Even though I am completely innocent, I was, compensated by the state of Texas. My record completely, expunged. I still have problems with coping to society. I have problems with trust issues. I have problems with my relationship. There's just so many different things that I think people don't realize that it does have an effect, and it's a long-lasting effect. There has to be changes.
Well said. And to those looking to help, speaking of which, visit the Innocence Project of Texas.org. There are multiple ways you can get involved in the movement of change. Thank you so much, Anna. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi just supersized the IRS to get more money to spend. $80 billion, 5 times the current budget of the IRS. 87,000 new recruits. An IRS larger than the Pentagon.
It's that last claim that has generated questions. Viewers like Steve wrote in to ask, an IRS larger than the Pentagon? Is it true? Let's verify. Our sources are the Inflation Reduction Act, the Treasury Department, IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig, and the Department of Defense. Let's start with the ad's claim about an additional $80 billion for the IRS.
$80 billion.
That number comes from the Inflation Reduction Act, which was passed earlier this year on party lines. It allocates $80 billion over the next 10 years to fund several IRS functions, including taxpayer services, enforcement, operations, and more.
87,000 new recruits.
So now, what about the claim of 87,000 new recruits? That number comes from a May 2021 report from the Treasury Department, which estimated a funding bill similar to the one that passed, and it would allow the IRS to hire their 86,852 employees over the next decade. In a letter to the Senate, the IRS commissioner wrote, "The IRS has fewer frontline experienced examiners in the field than at any time since World War II and fewer employees than at any time since the 1970s. The letter goes on to add, "These resources are absolutely not about increasing audit scrutiny on small businesses or middle-income Americans."
An IRS larger than the Pentagon.
And finally, what about claims of an IRS larger than the Pentagon? The Pentagon states online it houses approximately 24,000 military and civilian employees and 3,000 non-defense support personnel. While that is fewer people than the IRS plans to hire or currently has on staff, the claim needs context. The Pentagon is one building, which includes a small percentage of people who work for the Department of Defense. Altogether, the DoD employs more than 2.9 million service members and civilians, and it is the largest employer in the United States.
More competition on some popular flight routes could help your bottom line. Let's connect the dots. This week, Spirit is launching new flights to New York City and Miami. The airline taking on some key routes of American-dominated Charlotte Douglas Airport. Charlotte, LaGuardia, and Miami all serve as a hub for one of the biggest airlines in the world. And now with Spirit offering new flights to New York and Florida, American could face some stiff competition. A round-trip ticket to New York out of Charlotte could cost you only $90 on Spirit, but it doesn't include things like bags and reserved seats. Compare that to a $226 flight on American. But it could be good news even if you don't want to fly on Spirit. The competition could help lower costs of flights out of Charlotte on other major airlines as well. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments and questions about us. In fact, Kayla has a question for Al. Are you ready,
no.
Al?
Yes.
Okay. She wants to know, what is the one skill you wish you had?
I wish I was better at like outdoor stuff.
Oh yeah,
I'm not
I went
good
camping
at that.
with you.
I'm not. I wish, and yeah.
Al put wet leaves in a fire to start
that would
a fire.
help. He
Well,
thought that
I'm
would
glad
help.
I tried to open up, and like you guys really attacked me.
Hey, buddy, you're on the winning team.
Thank
You're
you.
just
That's
fine in
right.
the outdoors.
I was with Jeff. Saved my life. I would still be out there.
I remember watching you with the wet leaves being like, what is he doing?
Not good.
Maybe I'm
It was
crazy
good
like
for
a
Tori
fox.
and I.
We did take that challenge.
And the next question is for me, from Carl. He asks, who is the rudest celebrity you served in restaurants or bars back in the day? Oh my gosh.
Spill the tea.
I would say back then it was Lindsay Lohan, but she was using at the time, so perhaps it was because of her
Right.
addiction.
Oh, we gotta go.
Right.
Yeah.
Drop the bar.
Bye, guys.